Hey, Liberator. Happy Wednesday. It is Liberation, Confabulation, and every week we get to come together and have a conversation. So I know it's a little hard to have a conversation with someone that you may not know. So I'm going to share my story with you so you get to know me better. I'm Anna Kate, your transformation trainer, helping you liberate your awesome. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you and share with you my story of how I ended up here. So let's start with I think I can. It all starts right here. 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and my world as a go-getter entrepreneur was pulled out right from underneath me. So let's go back to when I started having a couple of issues. So I'm going to show you on my phone. I will post these pictures later so you can see them with a little more detail. So 2013, I competed in bikini. So I went through the process and did the diet, and the coach that I had did some damage to my body because he cut out fats for too long. And I ended up in the hospital with a pulmonary embolism when I was 27. So I'm in the hospital for 5 days over Labor Day weekend and had heparin drip, and I had to give myself shots in my belly, and I had to take heparin for a long time and go and get blood transfusions and iron IV because my blood was all a mess. So February of the following year, so about 5 months later, I ended up in the hospital with a TIA stroke. So it's a little stroke. It's a little hemiplegic migraine stroke that I experienced, and that was scary. So I thought that I was kind of having another pulmonary embolism. And half of my body went numb. My mom was actually home at the time, so I got to call her, and she took me to the ER and had to go through all of that. More medications, more things that we had to watch. So fast forward to 2014. I started training again. I wanted to compete again. I wanted to do it right. I wanted to do it healthy. For those of you that do know me, I am a health and wellness coach. And since this has happened a couple of years ago, I've added several nutritional certifications along with some group fitness and personal training certifications, because this was really a jumping board and an advocate for me, because I don't want anybody to have to go through what I went through with someone not knowing, trying to do something good. So I was sitting at a friend's house after dinner, and I couldn't breathe. Like my chest got tight, and I was taking very shallow breaths, and I didn't know what was going on. Another scare, another feeling that it was a pulmonary embolism. It felt that way. There was a sharp pain. It didn't feel right. So I went to the ER, and they told me that I had inflammation around my lungs. They gave me morphine and sent me home. And they said, go see your GP. So I went to see my GP, and he said, I think you have lupus, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to send you to another specialist. I went to a rheumatologist. I kid you not, I was not in his office 10 minutes, and he's like, you have lupus. I'm like, I don't have lupus. Like, it's something else. He's like, no, you see, here's all of these autoimmune things, and you have lupus. And you match a couple of these, so that's what you have. Here's steroids, and that'll make you better. So that was in April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So 6 or 7 months in, they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And this is what my body was doing. The inflammation, y'all, was out of control. It was ridiculous. I went through 6 doctors. This was the week of Thanksgiving. I was actually at an event. Hey, Shane. I was at an event and I couldn't walk. So I made it from that event, drove directly to my parents' house and stayed with my parents for a week. The guy that I was dating at the time didn't even come see me, could care less. Anyway, that's old news. We're getting bad things out of our life slowly but surely. So this week, my dad had to carry me up the stairs and my mom had to wash my hair because I couldn't do it. I couldn't open a bottle of water. I couldn't stand by myself. It was bad, bad news. So I found a naturopath, had her listen to my story. She said, you have Lyme disease. And I said, no way. Like I wasn't bitten by a tick. I didn't have a bullseye. You know, when my symptoms started to present, it was summertime. So somebody would have seen something. I mean, I was wearing shorts and tank top and, you know, having all that fun. So someone would have seen something. And 20 to 30% of cases, there's no bullseye. There's no tick bite. So we do the test. I come back positive. 4 out of the 6 bands positive for Lyme disease. The CDC does not consider it an active case of Lyme disease unless you have 5 out of the 6. Didn't stop my symptoms from showing up and all the pain in the butt. So the 6 or 7 months that I was on steroids fed these little boogers. They fed this bacteria and made me absolutely worse. I was miserable. So that began the start of oral antibiotics. I was on oral antibiotics for a year and a half. It was painful. Like I was okay as long as I was sitting. I could manage. I could still do my work and the things that I needed to do. But as soon as I stood up, or if I did too much, it was game over. Game over. And I was doing all the natural things that I could and watching my diet, and just all the little pieces were coming into place. So about a year and a half into my Lyme disease story, I actually met my husband. And he's absolutely fabulous. So soon after we met, I quit the job that I was working at because I was driving an hour, and I was working 12 to 13 hour days and then driving an hour home. And I was just over it. So I left that job. And then we decided that it was time for us to get engaged. So this is the picture of the day we got engaged. We were in Park City, Utah, and he had to kind of carry me. We walked down this little embankment down by a river, and he had to kind of hold me up the entire time because I was hurting really, really bad. So we got engaged. The house that we were staying at has stairs that go like straight up. So I didn't go down the stairs that trip unless I absolutely had to. That was my life. And it sucked. And I didn't want to stay there. And so the thing that kept running through my brain and how I kind of mustered the resolve was, I have this, I'm not going to keep it. I have this, I'm not going to keep it. So we got engaged in March. In May, we took our, let's see if we can do that. We took our engagement pictures, and I felt absolutely miserable this day. Absolutely miserable. And Mark was again having to hold me up. So that was in May. And in June, I got a PICC line. So I think this picture was taken in July of me and my nephew. This pink band on my arm, whoops, right there, was my PICC line. And I had to keep it covered up because I couldn't get it wet. For 6 months, I had a PICC line and I couldn't get it wet. So when I first started my treatment, I got off of oral antibiotics. We went to something heavier called, it was still doxycycline, but the dose was different. And it came in a ball like this. It looks like a little baseball. I had a PICC line in my arm right here. So I had this, you can see part of the line, but I had the rest of the line wrapped around my arm, and it went in and ended up right by my heart, or right here. So it just dropped right in. And that was a little frustrating, but I know that I had to do it. I kind of had a miserable experience getting the PICC line put in. It itched and I didn't have a resource. There was no one to help me. There's no one, I didn't have anybody that knew what it felt like to go through what I was going through, which is why Liberate Your Awesome is here and an advocate for those that are going through chronic illness and Lyme. Like, it's just, until you know what it's like, you don't know what it's like. So fast forward to, so we got engaged and decided to get married Labor Day week in September the same year. I went to try on my dress, and we had just changed my medication. So this is what I had an allergic reaction all over my body. Everything was swollen. My eyes were swollen. I had hives all over when I was trying on and getting fitted for my wedding dress. I'm going to start crying. It was, no one should have to go through that. It should be a super duper happy time. So this is what we changed my medication to. So there's that Mediball, and then I did another hanging bag. And this is just the medications that I had to take. Like along the inside, you can see some pills. Had to take those too. But this is what my day looked like. 7 a.m., 9 a.m., and then again at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. because I had to wait 12 hours between doses and like a half an hour between. Like, it was nuts. I was taking so much Benadryl, and the antibiotics were so bad on my body that my hair started to fall out. So this is what the PICC line looked like in my arm. Oops. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, figure it out. So that was on my arm nonstop, and I couldn't wash right there. And I don't know if you've ever been through that, where you feel like, I mean, you're clean, but unless you get every inch, you just kind of feel icky. So all of that stress on my body, planning for a wedding, doing all of the things, and every morning would look like this. That's hair in the trash can, because I would brush my hair and my hair would fall out. Exactly what a bride wants to happen in the months leading up to her wedding. So this is the day before our wedding. This is at our rehearsal dinner. So you can see my hair right here. My ponytail was not bigger than that. So the day that I got married, we put extensions in and did all kinds of stuff to get it to look like I had hair. And I had spent the last 2 years growing out my hair for my wedding day. I didn't, at the time I started growing it out, I didn't know when it was going to happen, but all of that work and all of that anticipation just out the drain. So, and they had shortened it for me because it was crazy. So we get married and we take off a little bit of time between our wedding and our honeymoon, because I didn't want to feel so bad on our honeymoon. I wanted to enjoy it. So we waited. And then, oh yeah, that PICC line that I had right here in my arm came out on Thursday, and we got married on Saturday. I was that close. Just up until the day, because that's what needed to be done. And it was the best thing that I did. I felt amazing, and I was almost all symptom free, enough of a symptom that I could manage it daily without it being like, is today a good day or a great day? Right? So I had no symptoms for about 10 months. And then something about Lyme disease is that there are what are called co-infections. So it's not just one thing. So when you meet somebody that has Lyme disease, they may have multiple co-infections. So I had mycoplasma, which is a mold in your lungs. And then what was dormant, which is what I hate about these stupid little bugs, is Rocky Mountain spotted fever. And so that the summer after we got married, I ended up with Rocky Mountain spotted fever. I had a fever of 104 for a week, and I couldn't do anything. It was miserable. It was crazy. So backing up let's see, what was this? So like April or May, I chopped off all of my hair because I was crying in the bathtub because all of my new growth coming in was like sticking straight up. It was like I had a buzz cut under my head, like under my hair, and I just couldn't do anything with it. So we chopped it all off. So this lovely hair is all of my hair that is grown back in the last 2 years. So I'm kind of very proud of this. It's not as long. I mean, my hair used to be really long and I miss it. And so some days I want to go from a pixie cut to long hair. But you know, my hair is just my hair. It's just hair. You can cut it off, you can grow it back, all of that things, but it's just hair. It doesn't matter. So there are much more important things than hair. So that's part of something that I learned along my journey. But how can you go through all of that and have your life ripped out from underneath you and you find the love of your life and your life just keeps getting better? Your daily life is miserable. You can't walk. You can't do the things. Your hair's falling out. You're exhausted just taking a shower or unloading the dishwasher. For anyone that has a chronic illness, there's something that we use called spoons. So every day you have a set number of spoons, which is your energy expenditure. So taking a shower may take 5 spoons. If you have 15 spoons, you only have 10 spoons left. So you have to pick and choose what you do. And sometimes you have to say no. And that's just part of chronic illness, is learning your new limits. But that doesn't mean you're limited. So what are you going through? What did you go through in 2019 that was kind of like oh man, I didn't really want to go through that. That was not on my resolution list. That was not on something that I wanted to do. I wouldn't have chosen that. So think about that and think about what you learned from it. And think about how learning that through that challenge can help you liberate your awesome. Every week, I'm going to share with you tips and tricks along the journey. I'm going to share with you experiences and things that I've learned that you don't have to learn the hard way, and you can go ahead and apply to your life. So we're always going to touch on one of the 6 core values of Liberate Your Awesome, which is physical, nutritional, emotional, financial, relational, and spiritual. So it's going to be something different every week. So go ahead and tune back in. Go ahead and hit the button up here. I think it's over there. To get reminded every week. Go ahead and subscribe to all of the events so you get the reminder. They're always going to be 20 to 30 minutes. They're not going to be long, but it's something that you can take with you each and every week. And I hope you'll come back and engage, ask questions, and we can go on this journey together to liberate your awesome. I am super proud that you showed up for you this year, that you showed up for you today. So I hope that my story can encourage you. I hope that it gives you hope that even when really crappy stuff happens, back to back to back, that you have a little hope that you can get through it too. There is sunshine at the end of the tunnel. So join me here each and every week. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, get the notifications for when I go live, and come and join the conversation. So this is your daily chat or weekly chat of Liberation Confabulation. And I am Anna Kate, your host and transformation trainer. You know what to do. Go out and liberate your awesome. Have a great week.